Are you a fan of McDonald's? What if it were taken over today by a milkshake machine salesman? Curious? Dive into the full story in the Founders Movie Recap. Intrigued by the premise of this fascinating film? Discover the captivating tale of how a relentless milkshake machine salesman attempts to seize control of McDonald's, the beloved fast food empire, in The Founders. The story begins with Ray Kroc being a milkshake machine salesman, traveling around to offer his machines to restaurant owners to help them ease their work and make their production more efficient. To the owners, Kroc explains the meaning of the terms egg and chicken as similar to supply and demand. There would be no chickens without eggs and vice versa. Both are inseparable. The more eggs there are, the more chickens will be born, and the more chickens there are, the more eggs will be produced. As an analogy, he says that if a restaurant owner buys 5 of his milkshake mixers, they could produce milkshakes very quickly and efficiently. This would increase their production, and consequently, market demand or customer interest would also increase. Unfortunately, his offer was rejected, and Kroc remarked that a quiet restaurant would remain so if it did not speed up its production. Kroc then left with his machine back to his car. He ordered food, and while waiting in his car, Kroc felt annoyed because his food was taking too long to arrive, and it had already been 20 minutes without any sign of it. Eventually, Kroc went to another restaurant and offered his machine. Rejection occurred again at this restaurant. As usual, after the rejection, Kroc ordered food at a nearby restaurant. He had to wait a long time for his meal. To make matters worse, when the food finally arrived, it turned out to be the wrong order. Kroc was very disappointed and immediately left. In short, at a hotel where he was staying, Kroc played a motivational cassette. That night he listened while reflecting. A wise quote from the cassette said, "A persistent person will overcome a talented person, overcome an educated person, and even overcome a genius." The formula is if we change our minds, our lives will also change. While falling asleep, Kroc kept pondering that sentence. The next day, like the days before, Kroc again offered his machine, but was rejected again. Then Kroc called the receptionist at his office and asked about a new list of restaurants to visit. Kroc was overjoyed when the receptionist said there was a restaurant that ordered 6 milkshake mixers at once. Kroc then asked for the restaurant's phone number and called them, requesting to speak to the owner. According to the person on the phone, there were 2 owners named Mac and Dick. Finally, Kroc spoke with Dick, but Dick seemed very busy as his restaurant was crowded with orders. Kroc then confirmed whether it was true that McDonald's ordered 6 machines, but Dick said it was a mistake. McDonald's had actually ordered 8 machines. Hearing this, Kroc was very surprised and asked for the restaurant's address. It turned out the restaurant was located in California. Kroc quickly set off to deliver his machines, and during the journey, he couldn't contain his excitement as this was a very big sale for him. At that time, the price of the machines was very high, so the potential profit was also substantial. Shortly, Kroc arrived at McDonald's. Kroc saw a very long queue at McDonald's, but he decided to wait in line. In the queue, someone told him that even though the line was long, the service would still be fast. Kroc patiently waited for his turn. When it was his turn, he immediately ordered his food and drink. He was surprised because, although he had just given the money and received change, his food and drink were already ready in front of him. He was amazed and couldn't believe that his order was prepared so quickly. The server assured Kroc that it was indeed his order. Kroc then asked where his plate and place to eat were. The server explained that Kroc could eat directly from the food packaging and could eat wherever he wanted, like in his car or in a park. Kroc was surprised because this was very unique and different from other restaurants he had visited. However, he was still confused about how to eat without using plates and utensils. Eventually, he decided to observe the people around him and follow how they ate. Soon after, a janitor cleaning the front yard of the restaurant approached Kroc and greeted him, asking how the burger he was eating tasted. Kroc replied that it was the best burger he had ever eaten. However, upon closer observation, Kroc realized that the janitor was actually Mac, one of the owners of McDonald's. The person who had answered the phone earlier was his brother Dick. So, they both, Mac and Dick, were the owners. They introduced themselves, and Mac invited Kroc for a tour of the restaurant. Kroc took a tour around the restaurant and saw the conditions inside. He was surprised to learn that one burger could be prepared in just 30 seconds. Mac explained that the main concept of McDonald's was speed. Kroc was impressed by this, and finally, the three of them, Kroc, Dick, and Mac, decided to have dinner together. During dinner, Dick and Mac shared the story of the beginnings of McDonald's. They explained that initially, McDonald's was just like any other restaurant with a very varied menu. However, they then realized that the most popular and efficient item was the burger. This led them to simplify the menu and focus on selling burgers, which later became the key to McDonald's success. Their story gave Kroc valuable insights about the importance of efficiency and specialization in business. At dinner, Dick and Mac explained to Kroc that they decided to provide only 3 main items at McDonald's: burgers, fries, and milkshakes. They eliminated all other items and focused on these 3. But their innovation didn't stop there. Dick and Mac wanted to create a breakthrough that had never existed before in the restaurant world, focusing on speed. They even closed the restaurant for months, just to perfect the kitchen operations. They practiced on a tennis court that they had drawn to resemble the layout of their kitchen. They succeeded in creating the world's first fast food system. Unlike other restaurants that might serve food in 30 minutes, McDonald's could serve orders in just 30 seconds. However, they also shared that initially, their concept was not well received by customers. Usually, customers would sit in their cars and the food would be delivered by servers, but with the new system, customers had to get out of their cars and queue to pick up their food themselves. Nevertheless, Dick and Mac continued to explain to customers that the queue wouldn't be long, just 30 seconds, and the food would be ready. This was the beginning of the revolution they brought to the fast food industry. From the story told by Dick and Mac, it was evident that the McDonald's system as we know it today had evolved rapidly. That night, Kroc couldn't sleep, thinking about the brilliant ideas they had shared. The next day, Kroc met with Dick and Mac and presented his idea about franchising. However, they explained that they had tried the franchise model before but failed due to standardization issues. They had 5 franchises that operated with poor standards, were dirty, and even sold items outside the main 3 McDonald's menu items, ultimately damaging their brand's reputation. So they decided to close those franchises and thought it was better to have one perfect restaurant than many with poor standards. Kroc and the McDonald brothers then engaged in a debate where Kroc suggested recruiting supervisors to maintain franchise standardization. However, they still had differing opinions. What was interesting about Dick and Mac was that even though they were successful, they remained open to new ideas and willing to listen to input from others, including Kroc. After the meeting, Kroc went home and discussed with his wife. At that time, their financial situation was actually enough to retire. His wife suggested retiring and enjoying the fruits of their labor. However, Kroc had a different view and did not want to stop there. Kroc, with his still burning ambition, did not want to give up even though his wife suggested retirement. Kroc believed in the vision and dreams he had and said he needed support from his wife, not doubt or rejection like he often received from others. Finally, Kroc managed to convince Dick and Mac about the potential of the franchise system he proposed. Although initially, Dick was skeptical and worried about betrayal, Kroc offered a solution by creating an official binding agreement, making them feel secure as they were protected by law. Kroc then mortgaged his house and invested in McDonald's, opening his first franchise, which was immediately successful. He was committed to maintaining quality to match the standards of the main branch. Kroc often argued with Dick over his new ideas, such as a partnership with Coca-Cola, which were rejected. Kroc understood Dick's caution, having had bad experiences with franchises before. When Ray Kroc's first McDonald's franchise succeeded, it only fueled his ambition further. With his undying sales spirit, Kroc took every opportunity to offer McDonald's franchises to his friends, expanding his business network. He saw great potential in the franchise business model and was determined to spread it further. As a result, he opened 3 franchises in less than a month. However, not everything went smoothly. Some franchises managed by his friends failed to meet the expected standards. Their quality was low and did not align with the operational standards set by McDonald's. Realizing this, Kroc took a firm step by deciding to manage these franchises himself. He changed the cooperation model with his investors, where they only contributed financially, while the day-to-day operational management was entirely handled by Kroc. This move was a critical decision in McDonald's history. Kroc understood that the key to franchise success was not only expansion, but also maintaining high-quality standards. Direct management by Kroc ensured that each McDonald's outlet maintained the brand's hallmark quality, cleanliness, and efficiency. This also helped maintain McDonald's overall reputation, which was important for its long-term growth. Once, at Kroc's office, a Jewish Bible or gospel book salesman surprisingly revealed that he needed money. This led to the recruitment of a religiously devout person as a supervisor, a move that proved successful. The supervisor's wife also helped by promoting McDonald's, distributing candies with the McDonald's logo. Kroc felt envious, seeing the couple's good cooperation and mutual support in their work, while he felt his wife at home did not offer the same support. Therefore, Kroc started thinking that religiously devout people might be suitable as supervisors, as their adherence to their faith might translate to adherence to their work standards. Eventually, Kroc changed his recruitment strategy. He no longer recruited randomly, but began visiting Jewish synagogues and other religious places to give speeches and recruit employees there. Many people joined, and the people recruited by Kroc from various religious backgrounds turned out to have excellent work quality, both in the franchise and franchising business. Kroc achieved great success, and all operational standards adopted from McDonald's were maintained well. From this experience, Kroc understood that the key to success in business was through proper recruitment. Kroc faced a turning point when he was offering a franchise business to a restaurant owner. He met a beautiful woman who was also skilled at playing the piano. More importantly, she shared Kroc's ambition. However, she was the wife of a potential investor. That night, Kroc fell in love with her at first sight. Kroc later faced operational issues in his franchise business. He ran out of funds, and research showed that operational costs were far higher than the profit percentage earned. He contacted Dick to renegotiate for an increased profit percentage from 1.4% to 4%, but the request was denied as Mac and Dick themselves only received 0.5%. They felt that Kroc was already earning a very large profit, 3 times more than before. Kroc became frustrated as his loan payments at the bank had been overdue for 3 months. In such a situation, McDonald's franchises were indeed successful, with 3 to 5 busy branches maintaining high standards. However, the high expenses meant the business was not financially healthy. When Kroc was stressed, a consultant offered a business overhaul. The consultant explained that McDonald's was not really a restaurant business, but a property business. In the proposed business model, those who wanted to open a McDonald's franchise would pay rent for the land and initial building to Kroc. This way, Kroc would get a considerable initial income, and annually he would continue to receive rent for the land and building. This concept was different from before, where investors who wanted to open McDonald's had to find their own land or even build McDonald's on their own property. Kroc agreed to the consultant's suggestion and started a new company called Franchise Realty, essentially a property-based franchise business. His new business was hugely successful, and the peak was when Kroc managed to buy the land where the first McDonald's restaurant stood, previously leased by Mac and Dick. Eventually, Mac and Dick lost full control of the first McDonald's. Kroc was then free to change McDonald's standards as he wished. He could collaborate with Coca-Cola and create new menus and other changes. However, a significant change was in cost expenditure. Kroc decided to replace the use of real, healthy cow's milk with cheaper powdered milk, though less healthy. This meant McDonald's no longer needed refrigerators to store real cow's milk, reducing electricity operational costs. This change might have shifted McDonald's from being known as a healthy fast food restaurant to a less healthy fast food chain. Moreover, Kroc and Joan, the wife of one of the investors, engaged in an affair. One night, while dining with his wife, he expressed his wish to divorce, offering her their house, car, and all his possessions except his business as compensation. Then, the conflict between Kroc and Mac and Dick escalated. During a phone conversation, Kroc wanted to cancel his contract and take over McDonald's alone. Mac, hearing this, became angry and disappointed, having trusted Kroc deeply. Mac wanted to take legal action against Kroc, but Kroc was confident he would win. However, Mac's anger led to a diabetic attack, causing him to faint and be hospitalized. Meanwhile, Dick, doing crossword puzzles in the hospital, was surprised by Croc's visit and a bouquet with an envelope. Dick handed the envelope to Mac, which contained a blank check. Croc planned to pay whatever they wanted to hand over McDonald's to him. After that, Croc left. Eventually, Mac agreed to relinquish McDonald's, feeling unable to compete with Croc, who had become a giant in the business. While their McDonald's was just a small-town restaurant, they agreed to let go of the McDonald's they had started with a payment of $2.7 million and a lifetime 1% profit from McDonald's. After all agreements and signings were done, Croc and Joan married and lived together, while Mac and Dick, once brothers, were ousted from the McDonald's name they had founded. The important message of this story is not to belittle McDonald's, as McDonald's is one of the best restaurants in the world, and there is no burger tastier than a McDonald's burger.
Thank you for joining me on this intense journey through the Founder 2016. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for more cinematic explorations on our channel.